Well, today we get to discuss what makes our marriage work so well after 21 years of being married to this guy. Stay tuned, you'll find out.
Well, as many of you know, we just celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary, and we still like each other after 21 years, and we knew each other for a long time before we got married.
Pre-puberty.
You didn't have to share that. And even through 6 kids, we have been able to still strengthen our relationship and our marriage. And so sometimes we get asked the question, like, what's the key to a good marriage, or how have you guys continued even through parenting and changes in life to still strengthen your relationship? So we just wanted to share a few things that are real important to us in this season of life. We've had different things that have helped us over the years, but right now, what are the things that are helping us maintain a strong marriage?
Yeah, because this is a season that we see a lot of people really start to struggle, because we are we're entering into the year where our oldest is going to transition to college. So that's a big transition point for us. And then plus just the stressors of teenagers needing to go to different places and still having little ones. So we see a lot of couples that have been married around the 20-year mark just kind of, it seems weary. That fighting for a good marriage is really hard. And I think people genuinely see us, people see us genuinely enjoying each other, that we have fun together. And so, let's talk about that. Why do you like me so much?
Well, here's some of the practices that we do that I think kind of help keep us connected. The first is that we start our day together most mornings. I do have some early morning meetings or appointments.
You abandoned me.
It's good to know you're not bitter about that. Places I have to be early in the morning, but the mornings that I'm here, one of our favorite practices is to start the morning in our family game room with a cup of coffee and our Bibles open, and to just have, we get up early and we make our bed.
Anybody else out there make your bed first thing?
And that's not important, but we do that.
It actually is for our marriage. I think that's what we should have put that. That is why our marriage works so well. I would be bitter. I would be bitter if you didn't like
that.
To
We
make
both
your
like
bed.
to make the bed. That's true.
Yeah.
So, but we open up our Bibles and we'll have our time in the morning where it's a little slower and it's quiet, and we enjoy a cup of coffee. And I think that keeps us connected because we see each other in the morning, but also because we're talking about what God's doing in our lives. And it's not performance. We're not showing off for anybody. I'm not doing it because I'm preaching on it or whatever. You're not leading a class. It's just we're connecting with God individually, and then we're talking about things we're learning, a scripture that speaks to us, and I think that just makes us feel connected.
Yeah, and also that's a time where we get to ask each other, and we don't do this every morning, but we try to regularly just say, hey, what can I be praying for you about today? It's also a chance for me just to ask you before you leave, hey, what's on your schedule today? Do you have any hard things coming up? Just so I can pause during the day during that time and pray for you, or call you or text you to let you know, and same for you to me. So just for us to make sure we know what's going on with each other that day. It helps me as a wife, honestly. I see your walk with the Lord. It's not just something where he's a pastor and so he's up there on stage on Sunday preaching, and that's not the only time that I get to see his walk with the Lord, thankfully, that I get to see you every day, just your dependence on the Lord. And so that helps me to trust you and your leadership and the big, just the big questions that we come across that, I have to follow your leadership on, and I can do that willingly, and choose to submit to your leadership, knowing that you are really seeking the Lord for these big things.
So start our day together. The second practice that we have that we've talked about for years, but we really have to fight for right now, is on the other end of the day, and that's to end the day together.
And not with 4 teenagers in my bed with us.
It's harder than it sounds. You think I'm sitting here saying end your day together, and well, that seems really simple. It is not simple with 6 kids and schedules.
Either one, it's hard to start our day together because our little ones wake up so early. So we've had to be pretty hardcore. Like, hey, 8:15 is when the day starts.
Right.
They can wake up whenever they want.
But we want to see you.
But yeah, like stay in your room and play quietly or read quietly. But yeah, this is not time for you to come join us. So we have to fight for that, starting our day together, and then we have to fight to end our day together because our bigs want time with us. So how to balance that?
Yep.
Yeah.
The end of the day is tough because we know a lot of couples who one person's a night person, one person's a morning person, and it's just you can be on the opposite schedule from each other. And so we're going to have to stop.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not going to stop. We're going to pause. You're going to see real life. Just go let her in. Just open there. We're just going to.
The dog is wanting in the room.
This is real life at the Ferguson home, is that we prepped all of our kids that we were recording, but we forgot to prep the puppy. Okay. Real life in the Ferguson home, we prepped all of our kids that we were going to have to, we were recording and to be quiet. We forgot to prep the dog.
The dog's scratching at the door.
So now Rosie's joining us. Okay, so what point were we on?
I think we were just talking about ending the day together and making sure that one person's not going to bed and the other person's staying up late watching movies or TV or playing video games or doing something while the other person's going to bed and just missing each other at bedtime. And so you and I try to get in bed at the same time, go to sleep at the same time, and just feel like that's important for our connection as well.
Yeah, and I think another thing that is struggle besides the bigs is also just the devices. I think it's such a pull, and I'll just be honest and own it, that oftentimes if I've been talking or been around people all day long, that to me that's just kind of like a brain break just to scroll through news, or even, I mean, there's lots of options on your phone. Amazon is a great distraction for me. So just to make those hard choices, like, okay, I'm gonna put the phone down, I'm going to tell the kids, you go do your own thing so that we can end the day together. And oftentimes we will watch something together because laughing together at the end of the day is beneficial.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So starting our day together, in God's Word with a cup of coffee, that's important for us to stay connected. Going to bed at the same time as a couple. I think third, the practice we talked about was we just make time for communication and how huge that is. I mean, that's important for any friendship. Like, if you don't talk to each other, you're not going to feel connected.
And if you're only talking about hard things, if you're always making decisions about, are we going to buy this, or you have to get the kid here, or like, that's not fun. It's needed, it's necessary,
right?
But it's not fun.
But you just have to make time for it in your marriage, and you think because we're married that you'll have time for that. But I just know every time we lead our Re-Engage marriage ministry class, at the end of the semester, every semester I ask these couples, what was your biggest takeaway from this semester? And they always say, we communicated more than we've ever communicated. So what that says to me is, so many couples are coming in and they're not in a good place in their communication. So they're living together, but they're not talking to each other. So one of the things you and I do is, at least in this season, is we try to go for a walk almost every day.
That's because we're getting older. We used to go on runs together, but then I couldn't talk, so I was out of breath.
Speak for yourself. You're getting older.
So now we walk a lot. Our neighbors tease us about how often they see us out for walks.
It's funny too, because we're having a hard time in parenting or life or ministry or whatever. We might go for 2 or 3 walks that day. You know, it's just like we need time to decompress and process, and it helps us to get out and get some fresh air and exercise and get away from the children for a minute. And but also, I think what I'm trying to say is we talk a lot the whole time we're walking. We communicate.
Yeah, and I would encourage you, start that practice, go early, especially in Texas where it's starting to get ramp up heat-wise. So go early, go in the evenings, but use that time to talk about heart issues. And so if there's anything weighing heavily on my heart, or something where I could find myself getting upset with him if I didn't communicate it, like, use that time to bring up those harder things, because when you're walking shoulder to shoulder, there's just something about that makes it a little bit easier to address hard things. And we always come back thankful, even if we've had to have hard discussions. Like, at the end of the walk, it's refreshing to us. So
yeah, it's good. So you just gotta make time to communicate.
Yeah.
What's the fourth practice we do?
To date each other, and we enjoy. We will do an episode on date ideas, but I will be honest that we're kind of boring to a lot of people, and that we just want to go have a good meal that we're not having to prepare, or at least they're not having to cook or clean up, and where there's no interruptions, or we can just sit there and talk. So we're not one for like, oh, we need these new experiences to keep our dating life fun. Like, we consider it a win if we get to go sit down and have a really good again, it goes back to the communication, but we're always looking for ways in our schedule to get that friend time in. And so I would say that's our just really sweet friend time that we get to just bond and laugh together and communicate and dream together.
And thankfully we're in a season where we've got older teenagers who can help with our younger kids. We've got your mom here with us who can help with the younger kids. So that frees us up. But even when we didn't have that and our kids were young, we still made it a priority to budget for a babysitter, to have somebody else watch the kids, or us watch somebody, switch back and forth. So all of that just to say you have to build it into your routine and your practice to say, we're going to have a date night. And there's always going to be something that gets in the way of that, or a kid who doesn't want you to go, or something else you could do that night. And you just have to make it a priority.
Yeah, the YMCA was a great help to us when our kids were little, because they call it, I think, what do they call it? Family Friday? But for us, it was date night. So I think, once a month you can go as part of your membership and sign your kids up. You can pay just a couple dollars extra for pizza to even have them fed. So we were regulars there. As soon as like the sign-ups open for the next month, I was there to sign them up and get them ready. So we did that for a while. We've traded off with other families. So yeah, and I really appreciated it. When we first moved here and didn't know anyone and we had no money, I mean, our budget was very small, but Keith led us really well in saying, no, like, this is a priority. And so, we had a babysitter come in. I think at that point it was every 2 weeks is what we could afford. And then on the other weeks, we just put the kids down and did candlelight and did a special night at the house. So date each other, prioritize it. Just, it's so important. And there's so many things that we're even struggling now in this season because our teenagers have stuff going on all the time. And just to really remember, like, our relationship needs to take priority, and our kids need to see that. Like, that makes them healthier, knowing that we're solid.
Yeah, I think when your kids are younger, it's the logistics of it are tough. Like babysitter, money, how are we going to do it? I think when your kids get older, it's saying no to things. It's not the logistics anymore. It's prioritizing it and saying, no, I'm not doing that with you, or no, you can't do that because we have to prioritize this. And that's where it just gets hard, because anyway, we're saying the same thing, but you just have to make it a priority. Fight for it in your schedule. And we'll keep
fighting for it too.
That's right.
Yeah.
So finally, the fifth thing, practice that's helped us stay close 21 years in, is just finding fun things to do that we like doing together. Finding a hobby like the Ferguson home, which has been really fun for us to do. And season 1, we recorded all those videos. I was looking today, I don't know, I think we did like 60 videos or something crazy, and that was so fun to do together and answer those questions. And here we are in season 2 working on it again, and just gives us something fun, creative to kind of work on.
Again, I keep going back to, it's fun because it's not our normal rhythms that we have, the mundane of life, which that's important and beautiful in its own way. But I do think that there's a real neat aspect and element to marriages when you can get outside of that mundane and do something different. So go to a shooting range, get your license, or go learn how, ride horses together. I don't know, whatever you do, go play golf together. Anything that just you can learn. I think learning something new. And for us, we're learning every time we do a video.
That's right.
So I think that's a big aspect, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. Growing together, like you're learning a new skill, so you're growing individually, but you're growing together. And some couples have a hard time because it's like their hobbies are different. Like one person loves this, one person loves, like, I hate doing that, And so they kind of create their own hobby circles, which is fine. But it's just, I think what Barie and I are saying is find something that you and your spouse enjoy doing together. That's not a date night activity. It doesn't have to like you're going somewhere. It could just be at your house or something that you do.
Cooking, learning, new meals to cook together.
Exactly. So we just encourage you to do something together as a couple that you grow in, that you learn together, that you have fun together, and you screw up doing it like we do this, and it's like, that was terrible, that was embarrassing, but we laugh at ourselves, and it just keeps things fun.
Yeah. I haven't paid for this yet because it's kind of pricey. I don't know much about it, but have you seen those master classes? To me, if you are like, we don't even know what we would enjoy doing together, I just keep seeing the ads because, they're smart, and I've looked at it once, so it pops up everywhere on this master class. But there's so many different things to learn about that you and your spouse could learn something and figure out what you enjoy.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
great idea. We hope those ideas are helpful to you. They're helpful to us right now in a busy season of life and parenting and jobs, to just help us feel connected to each other. And that's the main thing we want for your marriage is no matter how long you've been married, that you stay connected to God and connected to each other, and that'll help you stay strong in your relationship.